Hello everyone, Wingcapman here with another Mario Kart Wii tutorial. This time we're gonna showcase how to fix cut off text messages that normally appears if you modify anything in Switch Toolbox or Benson, whatever program you're using to modify BRLYT files. Those are basically the UI elements you will see on the screen in the game. For example, the buttons you can select, player tags, lap counter, and so on and so on. However, there are some issues with Switch Toolbox and with Benson if you try to modify anything basically. Sometimes the text will suddenly cut off for some odd reason. But we are gonna showcase how to fix that. So for this video, for this example, I'm gonna showcase a few things that might be a little bit, what's called, a little bit on the weird side. This is basically my custom menu. However, there will be some weird changes when it comes to the text. That's because I forgot to change them because of LE code. That has the extended BRLYT, well, expansion kind of code, which I want to prevent. So as you can see here, the text is a little bit jank, it's a little bit weird. As you can see, it is cut off on the sides, but the shadow, yes, this is the shadow behind this cut off text. The shadow is just fine. But the main text isn't, and we can change that. And with this case, with the control instead of buttons as the control visuals, the shadow is cut off here. But we are only gonna showcase those buttons and those buttons. As you can see, the text is suddenly cut off over here. It's weird, I know. But at least I know how to fix it, and we're gonna do it together. It works with everything based on BRLYT files. So with names, as you can see over here, the shadow is cut off. We can fix that too. It's only for text specific, well, shenanigans, I should say. That sometimes it just cuts off, but you can fix it just fine. So as you can see, it's cut off. We don't want that. We want to fix that. So let's close this for a moment. I know I've been repeating myself for a little bit. I'm sorry. Okay, so the buttons you've seen just now in the game. Mission level label, the BRLYT file. That's the one that's being used for the levels. So the 8 buttons you saw on the top of the screen. While Mission Movie is the one that's used for the stages. Instead of the levels, you have the stages. I already have converted those to XML-like files. You can do this with Benson. Let me showcase how the command is. You only have to use this. I add this in just in case if there's an error and I missed it, then I get that screen just fine. Anyway, we're gonna open mission level label first. The first 8 buttons you see on top of the screen. So I already scrolled down to text shadow, which is the first text pane. So you have different kind of panes. In this case, for text messages, it's just one of those that you want to change. As you can see here, length, it's 10. It should be fine, you think, but believe me, those numbers you're seeing here are actually units. Those are not letters or symbols, they are actually units. That's weird, I know. I don't get why they made it that way either, but let's change it to something else. So for the first 8 buttons, we know how weird it looked. So we're gonna change this to 32. You can use what's called hexadecimal values. So stuff like this, you can use that. It's hexadecimal, it's not decimal. But for the sake of just numbers, we're gonna use, instead of 10, we're gonna use 32. And we're gonna do this for every single text pane that's inside this file. So level text, we're also gonna do that. 32, 32. For whenever you select a button instead of highlighting it, that's for light underscore 1. Underscore 2 is also one of those, but that's when you hover over something. Again, it's 10. We want to have that to 32. Let's see if, yeah, there you go. It's light underscore 2. We're gonna change that to 32 as well. Just make sure to change both of them. I have an experiment with one having something like this as an example. I haven't tried it out yet. I kept it simple. I know that this works. So we keep it like that. So level icon, well, for the unused mission mode, you have this level or star icon that's actually behind the button that you never can see. That's probably used for whenever you have an average rank. It's just a texture. Yes, it's a texture, but we want to change only just the text. The text strings, the text length. So there you go. We change this to 32 instead of 10, because 10, that's a problem with Switch Toolbox. Sometimes it just changes to even stuff like this for both, especially when it comes to names. Names will be very short. Sometimes you only have like 3 or 4 letters. Yeah, no, we want to fix that. So, mission level label. I'm not gonna change the batch file, so I know exactly what I have to change for the name. We're gonna change this back to this one. Let me make a copy of that first. There we go. We have a new one. So first we're gonna check out how this looks like in the game. Of course, I have to go over here first. Recompiling the SLS file, because everything has to be extracted. Sorry if I didn't explain that before, but you need to have those files. And I highly recommend using Weem's SLS tools for this, because if you try to change anything in multiplayer or in the settings menus, there's a high chance that you actually can crash the game if you just use C tools, Brawlbox, Brawl Crate, whatever other tool you use. I still recommend this one. I know, it's dumb, I know, I'm sorry, but if it works, it works. If C tools and whatever tool works for you for those kind of menus, sure, that's fine too. But if it crashes for whatever reason that you double checked and nothing's wrong, then you know the issue now. Okay, we are gonna replace this. And we're gonna create a new menu single. Of course, it takes forever. There you go. Going to UI. Remember, we only changed one thing, and that's the level buttons. So the first 8 buttons on the screen, not the bottom ones. Can use tutorial again. This is the right one, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. Just double check. Fast forward. As you can see, the text is suddenly fixed. What a surprise! So now you know exactly what's going on with cutoff text. You basically can fix it with Benson. So for the people who are using LE code, at the time I made this video, we still have the extend BRLYT text Gecko code inside LE code, that is. There's only an issue with that, and I'm pretty sure plenty of you people already know. If you go on the drift type help window, this message suddenly gets cut off around here. For me it's over here, but I have a custom message, whatever. It's always getting cut off unless you try to be creative with the limitations you have. But some of us don't really want to have those limitations, like at all. Why should we? We are creating custom menus for a reason. It's a personalization. We want to have our own kind of menus. This one is mine. I want to have this fixed. I mean, that's understandable, right? And I'm pretty sure plenty of you people are the same. So for this one, we're gonna fix this cutoff section. So those weird 2 letters and this final stage 1. We're gonna fix that too. So we're not gonna fix this one here. We're gonna fix those. Just for the sake of this tutorial. So we are going back to Benson. We are gonna convert, in this case, mission movie. So we're gonna open that one up. So with text shadow, I mean, there is a lot of text. We're gonna increase this one to it's just a little bit of a gamble. If it still gets cut off, you only have to increase this message. So a little bit of a fun fact, what this weird Gecko code for the extended BRLYT thingy does to the game. Every single message, I can show you with the code over here. With this message, this value tells the game what kind of amount of units it needs to load for the length. I mean, that's fine, right? For most of the parts. The problem with this code is it does this for every single text message. That includes the character selection names, the vehicle selection names, the top borders, the description message, the back button, literally everything you can think of that uses a text pane. It uses this value for literally everything. This is why I'm against this code. You can increase this. I mean, I have a code over here that I just doubled it. I tried 300 and the game basically gave up on me. It crashed. The reason why is probably because stuff is getting out of range, out of memory. Because it needs to load so many, so many length units for every single text message that gets loaded from the BMG. Sounds very complicated, very techy. Let's just say, if this value is too high, the game crashes. So if you have a custom menu that's very advanced, when it comes to animations, there is a chance that even just this value can actually crash your game. And we don't want that. So we're gonna fix all of those values to something bigger. I feel like I need to change that. I feel like it needs to be bigger. From 64 to 92. Letters are between 2 units and 4 units. W is probably the one that uses 4. Same goes for special symbols. And the letter I is sometimes 1 unit. Depends what kind of custom fonts you're using. Yes, it depends on your font. It depends on your font, I found out. But of course I don't know at the top of my head which value is used for every single letter. I mean, yeah, it's too much. So we're gonna change those to 92. Oh yeah, I still have those. Those are not important for specifically this mission button. This is just older content. I try to make the Super Mario 64 DS numbers for the mission buttons that you have 1, 2, 3 until B or skull icon that I still didn't make. So it's just a proof of concept, but I kind of scrapped this. So that's a little of a backstory for that one. This should not exist. It's only for this. So you only go for the text panes. Gonna save just in case. 92. Just double check everything. 92. 92. Text shadow is most likely the first one. Okay. Okay. There we go. We are going to make a copy of this one. Okay. I have to double check every single time. I'm not used to make tutorials. I'm sorry. There we go. We're gonna copy and paste this. We're gonna copy that one as well. Going over button, because it is a button. If it isn't a button but more background element, normally it goes into control in this one. So that's where the unselect button and such goes for the missions we just saw when it comes to transition. That something is going on in the background, why it's changing text. You have to change a lot of files, but that doesn't really matter much. Did I do this just do a double? I have a short-term memory. We're gonna create a new menu single. There we go. Copy, going to the UI again. Of course, every single time if you people are using WBFS files or ISO files, you constantly have to recompile your ISO. But if you use a developer version of Dolphin, you can extract the whole ISO and load it from there. It works just fine. As you can see, I loaded just this way. Okay, we are gonna test this out. Let's see if the bottom stage buttons actually work. So this is normal. We did not change those. That's fine. And suddenly, this text is fixed. How convenient that this works consistently after all these years of using Benson, and almost no one found that out. Only a handful of people, and no one made a tutorial until now. For the people who were waiting for a tutorial, I'm terribly sorry that it took me so long to make one. If I have to be honest with you, I was waiting for other people to make this one. It's, as you can see, it's actually really easy. I will provide a download link from Benson in the description below this video. But yeah, now you know how to fix the cut-off text messages. When it comes to oh my god, words, come on. When it comes to LE code, let me change to my latest build real quick. I have to check this one. All the other Gecko codes will be turned off because I implemented the edited version into the whole file script. Oh, it still works. Okay. Okay, so we are gonna go to this one. As you can see, this is cut off. This is an LE code, by the way. This code, this exact code, is used in LE code. And messages like these are suddenly, well, ripped apart. It's just cut off. So long messages like these, and even description messages like in mission mode, like tutorial sections, the mission description. As you can see here, it's cut off. Why did people think it was a good idea to actually implement this code? Well, that's because no one made a tutorial. So for this one, it just fits fine. Sure. And this one barely fits. I think it's like 124 units or something like that. But I think there was another one that's, well, as you can see here, this is cut off because this is actually one whole message. I changed the colors of this this sentence. It's just from the same text pane, so that's why that's cut off. Okay. Well, I keep searching for the right video, but you get what I mean. This code is the cause of the cutoff. So let's say we are gonna use this code instead. So instead of 128 to 256, just double the length basically. We're gonna fast forward again. Fast forward again. As you can see, it's suddenly fixed. That's because that code, again, is a global length for every single text message. So if this value goes too high, the game will actually crash. I mean, I can show you that one. Hold on. So, as you can see, this works. Which one was it again? It was this one, right? This one works. So, that's fine. Let's see if we can increase it by a lot. Let me turn that off real quick, just in case. Let's say I'm just using decimals for now. Let's use 999. It is in hexadecimal, but we shall see. Let's see if it crashed or not, because the last time I tried this, it actually crashed for me. Of course, you son of a bitch. Now you suddenly don't crash. Of course! Why don't you? Oh, see? There you go. There you go. It crashed. Because it asked for too much. It's asking for too much. So stuff is getting out of range here. Out of memory, that is. So, yeah. You don't want to have this code at all. Let me change that back real quick. So, still, shout out to Diamond for making this code. It really did help us fixing our menus in a way that we could visualize all the text messages properly without knowing how to manually fix it, that is. So, still, thanks for this code. However, we have found out that this code actually gives a lot of trouble later on when it comes to developing your own custom menus. So for Weem and Lesseret, I highly recommend you to actually remove this one. And if people have issues with cutoff messages, just let them follow this video. Spread the information around that we have a permanent fix for cutoff messages. I'm not trying to push you, I'm not trying to push anyone, but this code is a struggle for amateur designers, professional designers, whatever UI element designer there is in this community. This code is just not good. It just doesn't work for us. As you can see with the drift type help window, it doesn't do well. It cuts off people with, well, with OCD. I'm one of them, although I have a mild version of it. I noticed that, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And we want to fix that. So, here is the whole tutorial for you, that we can fix it manually with Benson. So even if you made some weird stuff with Benson, I think you can re-import it in Benson and fix it again. I did it a couple of years ago, and that works fine. But I didn't know what those values actually were until recent. Those values are units. Those are not letters or symbols. Oh, I'm finally... This struggle is over, people. Finally. We have it fixed. So, go on! Fix your menus! Fix your text cutoffs! You can do it! And if you struggle with setting things up, you can always ask everyone in the community. We are glad to help you. Thanks for watching, everyone.